There's 5 AI stocks that I can't stop thinking about for 2026 because they have a lot of upside potential, guys. Like, opportunities like this do not come across our desks all the time. And when it does happen, we need to be able to capitalize by buying shares, deploying options in the right way so that we could obviously make money on this once in a lifetime opportunity right now. So there's 5 companies. We'll flow through number 5 right now, which is going to be TSM, going from my least favorite to my most favorite, but I love all of them. TSM, as you guys know before we get into the numbers, they control the fabrication of AI data center chips. They control roughly 90% of that market. So when you control 90% of the market of really anything, and the barrier to entry is extremely hard to fabricate these chips, you're probably going to do well going forward. You could kind of like name your price for whatever you want to do. So there's no surprise that TSM has been on an absolute runner in the last 5 years. The stock has been going up, but also earnings per share and the profits have been going up too. And a lot of people are going to be like, well, Brandon, like I want to buy the dip opportunity right now. I don't want to buy at the all-time high. Hey, think about right here when the stock was at an all-time high. It kept going up. Think about right here when it's at an all-time high. It could keep going up because the profits on the right-hand side are going up too. The stock is following where the profits are going. And when you control 90% of the data center build out and you have a valuation level of 35 times trailing earnings, meaning earnings that already happened in the last year, that's a pretty good valuation level. And on top of that, you have revenue growing at 36% year over year and earnings per share growing at 51% year over year. So it's like you have a moat, you have pricing power, you're getting in at a good valuation level, earnings per share is going up and to the right. It seems like a pretty table poundery setup if you ask me right now. And I think it is. So in my main Charles Schwab account, the $1.2 million account that I show all the time, I have a decent allocation to TSM right now. I bought some shares. No options exposure yet, but if we do get a little bit of a pullback, I plan on selling 2-year puts on TSM, 2 years out, collecting the cash flow, investing that in TSM stock, and potentially buying call options on the stock too, depending on how far it actually goes down if we do get a dip. So that is the big bad play on TSM right now. If we go to stock number 2, the big bad ServiceNow. Take a look at this one. This one is absolutely insane. You can see that the stock was roughly $288 per share a couple months ago, now trading at $108 per share at the time of recording this right now. The stock took an absolute nosedive down over 50% because everybody thinks that AI is going to crush them. But guess what ServiceNow is going to do? They're going to use AI to make their business more efficient. Maybe ServiceNow happens to lay off employees, but guess what? We're not making a bet on the employees at ServiceNow. We're making a bet on them growing their revenue, growing their earnings per share, and getting the stock to go up and to the right. Everyone's also worked up about like AI is going to just put ServiceNow out of business. I think everyone's getting this all wrong. AI agents are going to use the platform of ServiceNow to use that platform in a more efficient way to make their customers more money, deal with their customer resource management stuff, and just make their businesses run more efficient. So AI doesn't hurt ServiceNow. I think it only helps them. And if we take a look over here on the earnings per share, clearly going up and to the right, the revenue clearly going up and to the right, but the stock is going down and to the right. So there's a huge disconnect right now between what the stock is doing and what the profits are doing. And you guys know that I'm like a broken record on this channel right here. But wherever the profits go, the earnings per share goes in the long term, the stock is going to follow that. So there's a humongous disconnect right now where earnings per share is going up and to the right and the stock is going down. So one of two things is going to happen. I can pretty much guarantee it. Either the market is going to be correct and AI is going to wipe this company out. They're going to go out of business. Earnings per share is going to fall. It's going to be very bad for them. And the market share price going down is going to be accurate because the earnings per share is then going to start to fall. Or what I think the market's getting this wrong. I do think that earnings per share is going to continue to grow and go up and to the right. And when the market realizes that AI is not going to crush this business, but actually help this business, the stock is going to rebound very sharply. So the play right now on ServiceNow is going to be this. Do portfolio secured puts roughly 2 years out. Sell some puts, currently $108 strike price. I'm willing to sell like $90 puts going 2 years out. Take that cash flow and go reinvest it in some shares and reinvest it in some call options on ServiceNow here. Because think about it, when I do a 2-year sold put, say I collect $20,000 in cash flow and you do a 1-month put and you collect $1,000 in cash flow, do you want to invest $1,000 right here when it's cheap, or do you want to invest $20,000 right here where it's cheap? I know that I want to have 20K to deploy when it's cheap, and as long as I keep my ratios in check, not have any individual company too heavy part of my portfolio, I'm going to be just fine even if I am wrong on ServiceNow. So I think this is a very good opportunity right now. It could make sense to allocate. Going into the next one, we are now at number 3, the big bad Marvell. So what Marvell does very simply is this. When companies want to get their own AI chip, they could either buy it from Nvidia, AMD, Broadcom, whoever's out there designing the chips. Either way, TSM is going to manufacture the chips, but these other companies can go design custom chips if they want to. So what Marvell is doing is they're saying like, hey, maybe Google, for example, doesn't want to go buy NVIDIA's chip and essentially pay NVIDIA their 75% profit margin. So then Google, in combination with Marvell, they're just saying, hey, let's just design the chip how you need it, and we'll just send these blueprints to TSM and have TSM build the chip for us, and we're just going to go cut NVIDIA straight out of the equation. Is it that easy to actually do it? Of course not. Nothing is going to be that simple in the real world, but you get my point. Companies want to custom fabricate their chips for a very specific use case, and that is why Marvell's earnings per share has been going up and to the right. Like, obviously, it's been a very bumpy ride. EPS going up here, went down, up, down, whatever. It's very jaggedy. Also, why the stock is very jaggedy, per se, for lack of a better word. Where the earnings per share goes is where the stock is likely to go in the long term. You can see the revenue. The revenue is also a little bit bumpy, but the earnings per share tells us more about where the stock is likely to go. So when we take a look at this, we could see that the price earnings ratio level on Marvell is going to be 38 times trailing earnings. I think that's very fair, and I think with the revenue growth and earnings per share growth that you are getting, I think that is a great entry point in my opinion. I've read the earnings report, I listened to the earnings call. They are guiding very, very strong going forward for the next couple years for their AI demand pipeline. So when you start at a good valuation level with good revenue growth and good earnings per share growth, it is likely the stock is going to follow that up and to the right in the long term. And going back to ServiceNow really quick, fundamentally speaking, the PE ratio is roughly 30, with 20% revenue growth and 26% earnings per share growth. It is very strong, but when you go and compare that to something like Marvell, look at how much more the revenue and earnings per share growth is versus ServiceNow. So ServiceNow is still a buy in my opinion. Obviously, it's in this video. But Marvell is going to be a better buy in my opinion, and it's even better than TSM in my opinion, fundamentally speaking, because you can see TSM's P ratio is roughly 35 trailing, but yes, the growth is still pretty good. The reason why TSM is honestly really good and it should probably be in front of ServiceNow, I like it more, is because TSM in itself, you don't have to know if AMD is going to win, or NVIDIA is going to win, or Marvell, or Broadcom, or whoever. You know that those chip designs are still probably going to get sent to TSM to get built. So TSM is a bet on just AI fabrication, which we know that we're going to need more chips going forward. We have the training clusters and the inference clusters. We're going to need more AI compute going forward. So when you think about that, it's hard to really bet against TSM, of course, unless you think that China's going to invade Taiwan. And many of these stocks right here are probably going to do very bad if that happens. So going back to Marvell really quick, I think it's good. Obviously, no guarantees, but as long as EPS grows, the stock's going to grow. You're getting in a good valuation level to start. You should expect upside. So the play on Marvell is going to be this. I think it's pretty hard to look forward many years and really know the clarity of their guidance. Like, what I mean by this is the farther you go out, the less clear things become, especially in the AI sector. So a company like Marvell, who is designing custom chips for various other companies, it's like, it's probably going to be good. But what if NVIDIA just comes out with a chip that is so good and so efficient, so power efficient, that it's like, I don't even want to waste my time designing a chip with Marvell. I just want to go with NVIDIA. I know it's going to work. We have CUDA, the entire platform behind that. We're just going to keep it simple and go with that. So the play on Marvell is not going to be to sell a 2-year put option, because when you sell a 2-year put, the market's looking 1 year beyond your expiration date, so it's really like a 3-year put at that point, how it's going to be priced into the stock. So the play on Marvell is going to be this. I'm willing to sell a 1-year put option and buy a 1-year call option, and it's more of a risky play, but you could have a lot more upside because you have a good valuation level, good revenue, and good earnings per share growth. If you do that and the overall S&P and NASDAQ don't crash the rest of this year, it's very possible you're going to do pretty good on that trade right there. So those are my thoughts on Marvell. Now, drum roll, going into the number 2 is going to be Robinhood. And I know I broke down Robinhood recently on this channel, but the stock actually fell even more from when I did that breakdown. So guess what? I'm not nervous. I'm not scared. I like Robinhood even more right now. So we take a look at this. Price earnings ratio trailing 36. You might think, I don't know, Brandon, that's a little bit high. But it's relative to the growth. Look at the growth. Revenue growth, 52%. Earnings per share growth, 87%. These are very strong numbers, guys, and I do expect this to continue as time goes on. There's a lot of retail traders on Robinhood. The massive wealth transfer is happening right now from basically like the baby boomer generation and older generations, where now the Robinhooders are now inheriting that money. Now they're going to have more money on the platform. They're getting into their prime earning years at their day jobs. There's going to be more money being injected into Robinhood. They have investment, they have banking, they have credit cards, they have futures, they have gambling markets, which I'm not saying I love, but it's like it's more money for Robinhood to potentially tap into. The more money they have on the platform, the more money they could potentially make from their customers. So I think that's good. Now, you could clearly see the company was unprofitable starting out. A lot of companies are when they start out, but then they did become profitable, and their earnings per share is growing very rapidly. You could also see the revenue. It's growing very, very rapidly. If we just take a look at where revenue is at, we'll just go like Q3 2025, 1.2 billion versus Q3 2024. It's like it's almost a double. And even going from right here, Q4 of 24 to right now, 1 billion versus 1.28 billion. It's still very, very good revenue growth, and the stock is taking a complete nosedive right now. Now, here's my thoughts on this very simply. Right now, we're trading at 36 times trailing earnings, like I said. The stock was just overvalued up here. It's very simple. The stock was just too expensive. You guys know I draw that earnings per share growth line all the time. If I were to draw it on Robinhood, look at the tip of my cursor. It would look something like this right now. So the stock was clearly above and expensive up here, but now the stock is undervalued, and I started to allocate. I'm not betting the house. It's still a very small allocation overall, but it does make sense to sell portfolio secured puts, buy some calls, and buy some shares, and that is exactly what I'm doing right now. 2-year expiration date, strike price of roughly $65, which is pretty insane, and the premiums I just checked were very high. I believe I was picking up like $15 per share in premium or $20 per share in premium when I was going 2 years out. So if I set this at a $65 strike, my theoretical break even is going to be $45 if I pick up $20 per share in premium. Who wouldn't want to buy Robinhood for 45 bucks a share 2 years from now when you have EPS going up and to the right like this? The stock is going to be like a magnet to the EPS. It's very likely that contract's going to expire out of the money. You're going to sell the put, take the cash flow, buy shares, buy calls, and you're potentially just going to get those shares and call options for free because your sold puts are just going to expire out of the money. So there's a huge opportunity right now in Robinhood. But again, with the S&P and NASDAQ a little bit overvalued, I do think that you got to be careful. You don't want to over leverage. You always want to be able to survive a 50% crash and capitalize in that too. And I'm always allocated like that at all times. I will never get my ratios out of check. So Robinhood is something to consider right now. Now, the last one, the big bad NVIDIA, and they did just report earnings, and we have to talk about it right now. It's critical. Take a look at this. We have 64% earnings per share growth, 65% revenue growth at a price earnings ratio level of 36. Let's think about what NVIDIA does right now. They have gross margins of roughly 75%. I just read through the whole report, the earnings call. I go very deep on companies like NVIDIA, and any company that I actually own, I do very, very deep dives in Discord on these companies. But gross margins are expanding. They're becoming more profitable. Revenue growth is accelerating. Earnings per share growth is accelerating. They have a very strong moat. Everybody wants their chips. They have Vera Rubin coming out, the next-gen chip line. They have various things in the pipeline where everybody just wants it. And that's why the profit margins are so fat right now. And they don't want AMD over NVIDIA. They want NVIDIA. And that, again, is why the data center segment is growing so fast and the profit margins are so good. So 4-year chart, earnings per share is literally going parabolic right now. And when we saw the stock fall, if we flip this to a 1-week chart, we saw the stock go off a nosedive right here from roughly 197 per share up here to now 177. So the stock went down. Meanwhile, earnings per share went up. So it's creating a big disconnect right now on NVIDIA, and I do think it warrants to capitalize on it. And I am. I had sold puts on NVIDIA before they reported earnings, and I had them at a little bit lower than what the share price is at right now. Like, I'm up a little bit of money is what I'm getting at. But I added more yesterday when the share price went down even more because it makes sense to allocate, and I feel like this is kind of like a table pounder play. This is obviously the number one play. So here's what I'm thinking on NVIDIA. I am selling 2-year puts on NVIDIA, taking the cash flow, buying calls, and buying shares. You probably could have guessed it like the other place too. Now, What strike price am I picking? Let's think about this logically. Current share price 177. I'm picking a strike price around $150 per share. 150. 2 years out. And you could go check the premiums yourself, and I know they fluctuate all the time, but the premiums are roughly like $25 per share. So if I'm going 150 and I'm picking up 25 bucks a share in cash flow when I sell the put, my break even's $125, guys. $125 2 years from now. Who wouldn't want to own Nvidia for 125 a share 2 years from right now? When you have EPS going like this, freaking to the moon, and you have revenue going to the moon. Like, it's not like earnings per share and revenue are just going to just drop and go down to zero. Like, that's kind of like how the market's pricing the stock right now. A lot of consolidation. And the longer it goes sideways for, and the longer that EPS grows at the same time, the cheaper and more compelling this stock is getting. If the overall S&P and NASDAQ happen to rebound a little bit, I know they've been going sideways for the last few months. When the rebound comes and sentiment comes back to this market, I think that Nvidia is going to rebound very, very sharply. Maybe it takes a month, maybe it takes 6 months, maybe it takes a year. But I know in the time frame of where my option contract is at, I feel very confident that the stock is going to rebound in that time. So that is exactly how I'm allocating right there. Now, of course, none of this is financial advice. These are just my thoughts, breaking down my logic with you guys of where I think these stocks are going to go. Nothing is guaranteed. I'm not going to make money on every single trade, but I'm allocating, and in the long term, I've been beating the market since well before COVID, and I do expect that to continue going forward. So that being said, if you want to learn more about my stock option system, you must watch this video right here, or click the link below, 10-day stocks and options transformation, and I'll see you guys there.